Revenge today with a series of billboards across the country.
A giant message to a married man was displayed high above
giant billboards across
the
the
woman he's
country.
posing with is not his wife. The huge she's exposed in a big way.
Have popped up from New York to San Francisco.
We're hearing that Wilkins spent upwards of $250,000.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Take this Times Square
former
billboard
mistress
for
of
example.
Oracle co-president Charles Phillips plastered giant billboards in New York, San Francisco, and Atlanta exposing their affair. They showed a photo of Phillips and Yavonnie Wilkins that read, "You are my soulmate forever."
To get back at her former lover, Oracle CEO Charles
Against the
Phillips.
president of one of the largest tech firms right here in the United States.
An executive at Oracle, but a member of President Obama's Economic Advisory Board.
Charles Phillips earned $19 million last
He
year.
reconciled with his wife, and that set off his mistress.
Likely never predicted he'd be busted. The giant billboards also feature a website address for a site that chronicles how the affair unfolded.
So that everyone knew that he was cheating on his
questions
wife.
about the status of his marriage to Karen Phillips. The site has more than 1,000 photos of the couple and dozens of love Yavonnie Wilkins dating back to 2001.
This affair apparently went on for 8.5 years. His wife found out about it.
Decided to stop their affair and go back to his wife. The mistress put up the billboards as revenge.
Wanted to get back at her ex-lover by putting spokeswoman tell CNN the billboards were not meant as revenge. They were a
Phillips
gift.
has released a statement saying he did have an affair with the woman.
John Edwards. Look at Steve McNair. An out-of-control mistress can cost you your job, your wife, your marriage, all sorts of things.
This is the home Yavonnie Wilkins shared with Phillips for more than 8.5 years. 8-bedroom home sits on a 2-acre lot with a pool and a tennis court. The price? $11 million.
He should put up another billboard that says, "You are a crazy stalker, leave me alone."
There's two sides to every story,
There's
right?
two sides to every story, but come on.
Today, after almost a week of very public
Billboards
revenge.
have since been taken down.
Yavonnie may be big, so to speak, for now, but her whereabouts are still unknown.
Anybody who says Americans no longer have an imagination, all they need to do is piss off a woman. An angry woman is a creative genius. Check this out. In New York, a mistress who was mad at her boyfriend for going back to his wife put up a billboard of herself and the dude smiling and all todo in love. Eh? Like, right? But she just didn't put up one billboard. She put billboards up all across the country in any city that dude might be. And put a link to a website that you could go to and see how much in love they used to be. Now that's a bitter freaking genius right there.
I met Yavonnie Wilkins shortly after the media storm had died down. Despite the recent publicity, she wasn't terribly emotional or depressed, but she wasn't exactly full of happiness either. But whether or not the scathing media attention had anything to do with her current emotional state wasn't really what mattered. Considering the length of her relationship with Charles Phillips, the power he had, and the enormous amount of money involved in the scandal, one thing seemed abundantly clear. I knew there was more to the story.
He was forced to admit that he had a nearly 9-year affair.
I mean, that's $250,000 worth of bitter.
Initially, I took it as something she was just doing to occupy herself, to shift her focus somewhere else and to heal. And I didn't put that much into it. I really didn't, and I should have known better because I do know her very well. She needs to feel validated. That's very important to her. Not to be dismissed and have her feelings dismissed. And she wanted people to see she was in a real relationship with him, a long-term committed relationship, and she did not deserve what she got.
My first thought was, what, this girl, man, you don't want to get a woman pissed off. You don't want Yavonnie pissed off. You know, and I knew that. I was like, oh, all hell's gonna break loose now.
Welcome, everybody, to a very important
I think Charles is the one that actually texted her or called her and told her that his job was in jeopardy.
My first reaction was like, oh shit. I mean, like, oh shit, and I paused for a while, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to blow the MF up.
When I heard this, I just beamed with pride. Is that sad? That I was like, this is like, for me, what it felt like, I feel like when women in like the late 1920s found out that like women got suffrage to be able to vote, like just the pride that came in. Getting revenge is difficult, it's hard, and this woman nailed it.
No! You can swear. You can swear.
Wants a show,
I completely disagree, by the way. Listen, when are we gonna stop treating these mistresses like they're the victims? She knew the game she was getting into. You know what? The person he loves lives at home with his kids. You live in an apartment for 20 grand a month to dress up like Little Bo Peep. That's all I'm saying. Hey, listen, let me tell you, you ask any wife in this country, love doesn't get you 20 grand a month. 20 grand a month gets you to shut your mouth. That's it. I agree with Josh.
People were asking, they wanted to know, they were inquisitive. We were getting phone calls from the media, and none of us were talking.
We were just worried about her because we knew she did not like hearing that some of the media was saying bad things about her.
A woman launches an ad campaign
After an affair.
The billboards immediately captured the public's eye and provoked an enormous amount of media attention across the world.
You're cheating on your wife and then you go back to the wife.
That's karma. What goes around comes around.
This is what happens when men cheat and don't check their mistresses out.
Pick better judgment in girls.
If you're gonna cheat, then you deserve what you get.
There's too much effort, you know? Use it for good.
Being called the Billboard Mistress, it wasn't to prove she was a mistress. She had no knowledge. So it backfired in that sense. Everyone calling her mistress is very, very difficult.
I think Yavonnie was bitter, and this was her way of saying, what you did to me was not right.
So I thought it was a great revenge. You know, I'm more go, Yavonnie, you know.
Did she want to hurt him personally? You know, she never said yes to me. I don't know what, really, if she wanted to. I think maybe it was just proving that, you know what, no, this wasn't about an affair. I think that was the main reason behind those billboards, I think. But it clearly lost that point of view because it became so much more.
Out of 1,500 responses from the Billboard, there are only 230 here. And I titled the folder Reckoning. Okay. You wanted him for his money and status, and what you did by putting up billboards just made you look stupid. He will continue to be president of Oracle. He will continue to be married to the wife you both disrespected. And now he will just replace you with a younger model who knows how to stay in her lane. You allowed yourself to have your youth stolen from you. And by putting up those signs and being seen on most news outlets, how many guys will ever take you seriously? You should have continued to play your role and stop dating a married man and get one of your own. Sad, very sad. Another one bites the dust. Alrighty then. I don't know why that affected me like that. I knew that people would see it, but I had no idea people would respond to it like this. The reason I put the billboards up had nothing to do with revenge, per se. It had everything to do with validating my relationship and the amount of time that I spent in the relationship.
Actually, an act of revenge. They were put up by a broken-hearted woman trying to get
billboards of the couple in 3 cities. Take a look at this. The billboards are in New York and Atlanta and San Francisco, and they show Oracle co-president Charles Phillips snuggling with a woman. Phillips released a statement saying he had an 8-year relationship with that woman. Phillips filed.
The idea to put up billboards came during the negotiation period between Charles and myself. I was on the 101 North going towards San Francisco, and I saw a big billboard advertising for Oracle World. So I thought, if Oracle can put up a billboard, why can't I?
I recall reading saying, I'm going to prove him that I was not an affair. And I could completely understand. You know, that backfired on him because, you know, she was going to prove him wrong, that she was not an affair.
I think that if a woman feels like she's scorned just like any man would, that they would be bitter about that whole thing if you look back on it.
She put it up there to let everyone know, look, you know, we had something. This was a relationship.
I think she definitely regretted it. She took them down right away. As soon as she saw that it was creating this circus, they were supposed to be apparently up for much longer. I think they were up for less than a week.
After the media frenzy started over the billboards, I felt trapped. I couldn't leave my home. I felt suffocated, and I just felt helpless.
The media frenzy that came with it was unexpected and it wasn't wanted. But at the same time, what was wanted was to expose their relationship, and she was able to do that.
I would never ask her, why are you doing this? She was already, it was beyond that. It was no point in asking why. It was now, I hope you achieve what you want from it.
Despite what turmoil she may have been through, was it not her own fault that she was in the situation she was in? I mean, she did spend her own money to publicly expose her relationship with Charles Phillips in the form of giant billboards all across the country. What kind of person would do something like that? I decided to go back to the beginning. I wanted to know if this woman was really just a product of her current circumstances, or if the root of her problems began earlier. Yavonnie grew up in San Jose, California, less than 40 miles from Hillsborough, where she and Charles would eventually live after he became president of Oracle, and where their 8.5-year relationship would come to a very public end. But who was the lady behind the billboards? And why did she really put them up?
Vonnie has always expected her mother to be more responsible. There was a lot of times when that expectation wasn't met. Vonnie just couldn't understand it. And I'm not so sure that there was a lot of morals that were instilled. Vonnie had to search those out on her own. I believe Vonnie has always wanted to be more than what her surroundings showed her to be. Vonnie was going to get out of East San Jose and become someone.
I think back then it was so difficult trying to be a stepdad that I made the mistakes where if I had a chance to do this again, I would cancel.
He was always playing music, so he was home during the day. He was strict. It took him a lot of time to have the patience, I guess you could say, to raise kids.
I don't think that he was a good father figure for her. And I don't think he even wanted to be a father figure.
If I could go back and tell you that I made some mistakes with her, I can give you thousands of them. And she overcame whatever ugly decisions I made and everything I did wrong. Maybe the music made up for all the dumb shit, you know, I don't know.
Despite how much she disliked him, Jerry seemed to play an important part in her childhood, especially in her love for music. She said she really never called him Dad, but I caught her several times calling him that.
Just always remember my dad yelling, "Be quiet in there!"
I think she really wanted to have someone she could call her father, but subconsciously, something prevented her from doing so.
You have 2 unheard messages. Hey gorgeous, it's Jerry Perez. Jerry Perez. Anyway, it's the 4th of July. This is Monday. Me and Mom had a great time in the backyard. I wanted to thank you one more time. And I love you, and I hope the music is help you out with your journey. Let me. End of message. Delete. Press 7.
What I'm thinking about right now is, what will I do when he dies? I don't feel anything for him at all other than hatred and contempt and disgust, and so I don't know why I care. He's still the only dad I ever had. There was one time, I think I must have been in 3rd grade, and my brothers and I were getting ready for school, and he didn't go to work that day, so I was trying to brush my brother's hair because that was one of my chores. I was just brushing his hair really fast, and I couldn't get the part on the side of his hair straight, and I knew that if my dad saw that my brother's hair part was crooked, my brother would get spanked with a stick. And so I kept trying to straighten the part, and it just made us later. And my dad came out of their bedroom and said, "You guys are gonna be late, you better go." So I tried to push my brother out of the bathroom, and my dad just said, "You can stay here." And I just knew what that meant. And so I just started crying, and my brothers left because they didn't want to get whipped. So they left, and I was just crying in the bathroom. And my dad had the nerve to say, "What's wrong? Why are you crying?" And I said, "I just want to go to school." And he said, "Don't you want to stay here and make love to me?" And I just looked at him like, "What? What did you say?" And he caught himself because he just said nothing. So the person who can do that has the fucking balls to leave me a message saying, "Hey, beautiful, I love you. I'm just thinking of you today." Fuck you. Fuck you. You fucked up my life.
For the first time, I started to understand why she was the way she was. It was instinctual. Her sexual abuse had shaped her childhood and personality to this day.
I have a better sense of who I am now, so I deal with things more, but when I was younger, I definitely buried it.
She loved a band called Duran Duran, and the thing that she had was this blue jean jacket, but yet it had all these buttons.
This is so cool. She was a regular teenager, but her room was covered with Duran Duran, and herself covered with Duran Duran paraphernalia. It was cute, very cute.
I've always known her as outgoing, not shy, self-assured. I mean, like any young high school kid, you're always looking to figure out who you are and what you are.
Look at this thing. I used to wear this sucker every day. It weighs like 500 pounds.
While she had an obvious obsession with Duran Duran, it appeared to have a much deeper meaning than just a love for music.
I think because I buried so much, it's like ridiculous things like Duran Duran buttons that bring me so much joy and that can make me cry because it was my salvation. It was the one thing that I could escape to.
I thought about this woman being the same person who put the billboards up. Was it possible that she was not only in love with Charles, but actually obsessed with him as well? All throughout history, there are numerous accounts of powerful men and their obsessed lovers whose relationships turned into violent and deadly breakups. But was this destined to be one of those stories? I needed to know their history together.
When Yavonnie moved to New York, I thought it was great for her to get out and follow her dream and do something different and not be stuck in San Jose. So I thought that was really, really fabulous.
We met at Morgan Stanley. Yavonnie came in. She had this long curly hair and she walked on her tippy toes and like, "Hi, I'm Yavonnie." And we're like, whoa, that's some serious energy coming in here.
Charles was a software and enterprise analyst for Morgan Stanley at the time, and it wasn't long before Yavonnie caught his eye.
So it was probably about 8 o'clock at night, and he came over and asked if I was interested in like taking a dinner break, so I thought nothing of it. So we went to BB King's, and I'm sitting there talking, and he started flirting with me. And he was just like, "You've got the most beautiful hands I've ever seen." I think he said he had to travel for the next couple of weeks, and then he actually called and said, "I want to take you out on a date." So that's when it all started.
Although Charles was still married, he had told Yavonnie that he and his wife Karen were separated and going through a divorce. Their friendship continued to grow as they shared their interest and involvement in various political campaigns in New York City. The two began dating in February 2001.
They were great together, to sing together and the way they interacted together.
You could see that Yavonnie was proud of him and very taken with him, and I thought that he showed that he was very interested in her as well. I just thought they were very well suited together, same taste, they both love New York, and I couldn't have picked a better man for her than him. We just thought he was great and great for her.
He seemed to be respectful and quiet, surprisingly. I thought he would talk more, but he was quiet, soft-spoken, but always very kind and gentle. And kind of a contrast to Yavonnie, who was always lively, laughing, and loud. So it was a good contrast, the both of them.
I looked him straight eye to eye, and he told me he wanted to marry Yavonnie.
I just remember thinking, wow, he's a really attentive boyfriend, because he was not only taking care of Yavonnie and making sure she was okay, but her family and friends that she had there. And I just thought that was very attentive of him, and it made me happy to see she was with someone like that.
He was a cool guy, very loving, affectionate. He was a person that you could sit and you could talk to, and he'll, give his little smart comments about whatever, but he was a cool guy.
People always knew about Charles because Yavonnie always talked about Charles and how he was the only man in her life. So they, again, seemed like they made a great couple, seemed very loving towards each other, and that their relationship was not a secret.
He was an extremely intelligent guy, but I was teaching him things, and it was just a different type of relationship for me. I didn't feel like I had to impress him. I felt that he welcomed my views and made me feel smart.
In essence, she was really bringing him down to earth. He worked in this, high-profile company and position, and at the end of the day, she was really his touchstone.
I was with someone who loved me and who appreciated me with all of my quirks, with all of my flaws. It was just a feeling like I was in a partnership.
Despite Yavonnie's desire to stay in New York and focus on her own career, the two relocated to San Francisco.
I knew Vonnie loved New York City, loved it with the passion, everything that it had to offer, and she was not crazy about coming back.
Yavonnie was told by him that a few years after being in California, they could move back to New York.
Charles was asked to join Oracle as president by CEO Larry Ellison. He was well on his way to becoming the tech titan of a multi-billion-dollar enterprise software industry.
I remember her telling me, I don't want to come back, but he's asking me to, and it was a very huge decision for her that I'm sure took a lot of time to arrive at in order to leave everything that she had, established for herself in New York City to come back to the Bay Area.
At first, it was great as could be. They traveled together, had fun with friends and family, and attended social and political gatherings all across the country. They were happy together. Everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. Charles went to great lengths to make sure that Yavonnie would not suspect he was lying about his marital status. As the relationship became more serious, he confirmed the divorce was final by holding an elaborate and expensive celebration at the one and only Palmilla Resort in Los Cabos, Mexico in 2004. Once the couple moved to Redwood Shores so that Charles could be closer to work, the pieces of the puzzle began to materialize.
There was an instance in 2006 when I found his BlackBerry, and there was an email from Charles to his assistant, and the email from Charles asked, "Is it okay if I bring Karen?" And the assistant said, "Oh, of course." So they were making arrangements for an event on Larry Ellison's yacht for Oracle World. So of course I called him out on it right away, and his explanation was Karen is the PR person at Oracle. And I was just like, that's bullshit, you're lying. And he's like, no, look, let's go online right now. And he went online and he pulled up someone named Karen something that happened to work in the public relations department at Oracle. So of course I was like, okay, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? Like, I just found a lot of things in the BlackBerry, and he was able to explain it away just that easily.
In February of 2006, unbeknownst to Yavonnie, Charles had bought his wife a home just several blocks away. Although the relationship was growing stronger than ever, and they were both making sacrifices for one another, Yavonnie was not happy with the frequency of business trips Charles had to attend for Oracle around the world, as well as the time he spent on prestigious boards he sat on from coast to coast.
What would bring me back down to earth when I would get upset with him is coming to the realization that he was working so hard not to stay away from me. He was working as hard as he was working to be able to provide us with the most amazing life that anyone could ever imagine. He and I would not, as a couple, have the opportunity to travel to exotic places, to eat in the finest restaurants, to drink the finest wine. And so I had to appreciate him for the fact that he loved his job.
She was very understanding and patient that it was all work related. He was on numerous boards, so it wasn't just Oracle, it was other things.
But she had made a resolve with it. Not that she necessarily liked it. I know she didn't. She told me so. But she had come to terms with it.
I did ask the guy, I says, how long were you going to be in this job where you're going to be traveling so much? Since you're the president, I always felt like he could control his time a little better rather than running around.
He would tell her, don't worry, it's just going to be another year, and then I'm going to lighten my load. And so she would have that expectation that he set, and then he wouldn't follow through with it.
Despite their time together sometimes being an issue, not much seemed to get in the way of their otherwise healthy relationship. They would continue to grow as a couple with dates, concerts, and their favorite hobby, karaoke, and it was those times that would help their relationship continue to last.
Charles and I went to business meetings and business dinners together. Charles took me to his college reunion, the Obama inauguration. He and I took his son Chaz on many, many play dates in Central Park. We had multiple dinner and lunch dates together, the three of us. We took Chaz to concerts, bowling. We met his father for drinks in New York City. And I was with Charles in the hospital when his brother had a stroke. I was in the hospital again with Charles when his father had to have quadruple bypass surgery. We had dinners and lunches with his cousin Lynn. Charles did not keep me a secret. Charles spent every single New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, and birthday with me. You don't do that with a mistress. You do that with a partner. And I believed I was his partner.
In February 2008, Yavonnie and Charles purchased an extraordinary $11 million mansion in Hillsborough, California.
When I first walked through the door, it wasn't like, wow, this is amazing. I felt like I didn't belong there. But Charles made me feel like, this is yours, this is ours, this is where we're gonna spend the rest of our life. So once he came up to me and hugged me from behind, I didn't feel like, what am I doing here anymore? I felt like, wow, this is our home? Holy smoly, wait till everyone sees this.
A week after they purchased their new home, Yavonnie received an anonymous email that would ultimately begin the downward spiral of the relationship's fateful end.
Dear Karen, I am writing you because we have two things in common. One, Charles Phillips, and two, the possibility that he may have transmitted a disease to you. I was recently diagnosed. I am certain that it was transmitted from Charles. I am writing to you because I know he is a pathological liar and probably has assured you that you are the only woman that he has been with for a long time. And because you never doubted him, you don't use condoms. You should. I made the same mistake, and it has cost me dearly. Yes, I am angry, but I also have nothing to gain by exposing his lies. He has lied to you from the first day, and he is still lying to me about why he is not yet divorced. He is the one to bring up divorce and remarriage and living together. I was the reluctant party. We even discussed reversing his
vasectomy so that we could have children. I thought he did not need to suggest it if he did not mean it, right? Manipulation, it is what he does. Do you really know why he is never home? He lives with me part of the time. He has an apartment with some woman in Redwood Shores and then goes to New York to stay with another woman at their apartment. He is splitting his time between at least 5 women. Be assured that when you are not with him on that business trip, someone else is. He does not like to sleep alone. He has literally gone from one bed to the other, with me on Friday, you on Saturday, and another on Sunday, with not one condom. He pretends to be so busy that I feel special that he has taken time to shower his precious attention on me. Sound familiar?
When I confronted him about that anonymous email, his initial reaction was utter shock. He had no idea who could have possibly sent that email.
He went from accusing Karen of sending that email to accusing me of sending it. And after arguing with him over several minutes and trying to defend myself, I hung up the phone and emailed every single professor and graduate student of computer science at Stanford University. And the next morning when I informed Charles that I had reached out to these people at Stanford to help me trace the email, he miraculously believed that I was innocent and went back to blaming Karen.
Ultimately, Charles was able to defuse the situation by telling Yavonnie that Karen sent the email to her to break up the relationship. For the majority of the relationship, they spent 20 to 25 days living together as a couple. But near the end of the relationship, it dwindled down to 10 days per month.
If I had only seen him 10 days a month at any given year prior to us living in this 8,000 square foot mansion, I would have left. In fact, I did leave the relationship several times, or at least I tried. But as soon as we got into couples therapy, as soon as I got into personal therapy, as soon as I started thinking I could really marry this person, it's when he started doing things that made me question my decision. And it was literally the beginning of the end was March of 2009.
She had been unhappy a couple of times before about his travel, but that was the first time that I realized that she was really serious about he had not cut back on the hours like he had told her he would.
It seemed like he was going to 50 countries all the time. So from Yavonnie's perspective, he was the president of this huge multinational corporation that had 90,000 people that he was in charge of. And of course, that would take the president's time and commitment.
The things he was saying weren't adding up. And he explained it away as saying that he had family obligations. His father was having quadruple bypass surgery. He had a cousin who just recently died. So he had to take care of everything because he was the most responsible person in his family. While a lot of that was true, I found out that it was much more than that. He was going through a very traumatic time in his life, and he would think that he would want to lean on me. He was leaning on someone. It wasn't me. And I needed to find out what was going on because things just weren't adding up.
What are issues or problems that Yavonnie was going through? I know that she wasn't just going to sit and take it. I know she would try and find out or look into it further. So it wasn't a surprise to me when she said she hired a private investigator, but it's what this private investigator found out that surprised me, and I guess everyone else, including Yavonnie.
The private investigator came back with news that he was still married and that the homes that Karen had that was supposedly her own home was actually registered in their name.
The private investigator gave her the information that stated he had a wife and had several other girlfriends.
The private investigators that I hired in June came back and gave me information in August, and the information was on video, photographs, receipts. It was devastating, and once I received that information, the relationship was over. There was no way Charles was going to be able to talk himself out of that.
It was really sad to hear that. I was angry. I was hurt because he had hurt her so much.
It was just a tragedy. I had so much respect for Charles, which I completely lost after that. And I respected Yavonnie even more.
I remember her working out in the backyard on the barbecue on top of a granite countertop with her computer. And I went back there and I go, "Hey, Yavonnie," and she's like, and you could just see the frustration in her face. And she's like going, "I hate this house." And so my thought was that the reason why she was frustrated was because of the things that were going on within the house. So I never expected that there was an internal problem within the family.
So when that happened, I just just sat back and I just listened. It was me being the big sister now, me having that open ear and listening to her pain and just say, oh, and just keep saying, "Oh my God, I cannot believe this has happened."
I was angry. I felt really bad for Yavonnie, but I was angry for her at the same time because she had devoted so much of herself with Charles. I mean, there was no other man in her life but Charles. In a way, I felt kind of cheated too, so it was like a big deception.
I was hurt by it because, we let him into the family and, we cared a lot for him. We loved him too, like a family member. So yeah, we were all very upset by it because, we already saw him as family.
It was just really devastating. It was something that I never expected him to do. She had given up quite a bit in her own personal life. They had done a lot together, and you just never expect that to happen.
I think stuff was said in the relationship at the end, bitter feelings, and it just got to where, yeah, she was afraid.
I experienced physical violence in my relationship with Charles very early on.
Charles was sitting at the table. Yavonnie said, "Uncle Mike, Charles hit me." And I'm like, "What?" I looked at him, and I looked at Vonnie, and it was very tense.
The type of violence would be Charles grabbing my arm to prevent me from leaving, or like shaking me or pushing me up against the wall. Once I started getting bruises on me, I would set a video camera up when I knew he was coming into the apartment. I have documentation starting early on in the relationship of the physical violence. I never wanted to call 911 because I knew that if I reported it, his career would be over.
Some of the things that he said to her, were so unfair, hurtful.
He would say things like, "Who's gonna believe you over me? I'm who I am, and look who you are. You're from the ghetto. No one's gonna believe you." So at that point, I said to myself, thank God I recorded him and set up those video cameras, because it would be his word against mine.
She sent us emails that caused us to be worried. So when we got that, and then we would phone her back, we would communicate back in email. We were where we couldn't sleep. The emails that were coming were like, "Here's our information." The wife was getting emails, and in case something happens to me, that was Yavonnie on the other side, "I want you to know where this and this is." We're like, "What?" I'm like trying to put all that stuff together. It's more of a this could happen, and that's still like a threat. If something can't happen, that's scary.
So this girl, my cousin, just knew so much about this guy, and he doesn't have a heart in him. if he feels like his world's gonna come crashing down, which his job meant more to him than anything, any relationship he's ever had with anyone, family member or not, that job, that title, people worshiping him, that means more to him. So I was very scared the whole time what he could do to her if he thought she would talk.
Yavonnie had secretly kept some personal files from the later part of the relationship in a safe deposit box in Redwood City, California, a few miles from the couple's $11 million mansion.
So I have my safe deposit box, and it was in case something ever happened to me. It was basically to let the world know, or whoever know, that this was only for protection, because anything could be twisted to seem like, well, let's just take, for instance, with the billboards. The billboards go up and automatically I'm the Billboard Mistress. And that's just not the case. CDs of hundreds of minutes of conversation, and also saved email, really intense and really bad, heated conversations while we were negotiating our separation agreement. It seems like that's everything. All right, we will see what I've been able to save and keep. I'm ready. Thank you.
During the negotiation process of the breakup, I always had to carry my computers with me, my CDs, all of my external drives. I lugged everything around in the car with me everywhere because I just did not trust Charles. And one day he just showed up in the middle of the day. So I rushed into the bathroom of my office and I just threw like my computer bags in there with my 3 laptops. And he came into my office, and as I'm walking towards the bathroom, he's closing the door. And so I stuck my foot in and I said, "What are you doing in my office?" He was like, "I need to use the bathroom." And I said, "No, get out of my office." So I'm trying to push my way into the bathroom because I knew that if he was in the bathroom and noticed the bags in the shower, he would turn the shower on. He knew I was working on stuff. So we're like struggling back and forth, and I'm keeping my foot in the door. I'm leaning in to try to reach for the phone, and he pushed me off balance. And so I grabbed the tie and I fell down to the ground, and I'm like trying to pull him out. Get out of the office, get out of the office. And he's trying to like kick me out. So I get the phone and I'm dialing 911, and I was like, "Help, 3250 Ralston Avenue, get out of the bathroom, get out of my bathroom." And he just kept yelling, "I need to take a shit, I need to take a shit." He pushed the door open and went in to grab the phone. And as he's grabbing the phone, I run into the bathroom and I grab my computers, or I grab the bags that had the computers. And so he's on the phone with the 911 operator, and he just says, "Oh, sorry, wrong number. There's no emergency here."
Hello?
Hi, this is Kelly with Hillsborough Police Department.
We're fine, thank you.
Sir? Hello? Can you tell me what's going on there? Hello? Hi, it's Kelly with Hillsborough Police Department. What's going on there?
Nothing, sorry.
What? Okay, who are you?
I live here.
What's your name?
Yavonnie.
What is it?
Yavonnie.
Yavonnie?
Yeah. So everything is fine. I accidentally called. I was calling 411.
So how come you were screaming while calling 911?
I was yelling. I wasn't screaming.
Okay, why were you yelling that?
Because I was yelling at the person that I was...
Ma'am, what were you guys fighting over?
It was a personal matter.
What's his relationship to you?
I don't want to give out any other information. Thank you.
So the police come to the door, and I'm trying to tell them there's nothing going on, everything is fine. And so they said, "We can't leave until you tell us what happened." So I made up this big elaborate story. They left thinking that it was some guy in a white van that I was calling for help from. And I just ended up protecting Charles again.
When they first broke up, I had responded to her that, in every relationship, there's a lot of give and take. Little did I know that she was giving a whole lot more.
He was secretive, very secretive, and he didn't show his hand that much. You had to pull things out of him. But one of the things that we were sitting at a table for dinner one time, and it had the 7 sins. And 2 of the 7 sins that he said were good. I was like, what? They're sins for a reason. He said greed was very good. That stuck out in my head. I forgot. Greed and lust, I think is what he said. They're both good. And I guess that was his way of giving me like a clue what he was all about. But
she'd written in her email that Charles had described her as their relationship was an affair. That's hurtful when you spend 8 years with someone. You are not an affair. You are not a mistress. You try to not blame yourself, but it's very hard. It's very hard to not think about, what did I do to create this situation? Or what did I say or didn't say? What didn't I do enough of? So you go through all of those emotions and the fact that he lied above all. That he lied. So then you start thinking back as to everything that he shared, how much of that were lies, what was true and what was a lie. And it really breaks you down.
After finding out the truth about Charles, Yavonnie left the relationship in August 2009. She was devastated and understandably angry.
She still felt like he lied to her. She gave a lot of herself. She gave you can't get back the years she gave, probably 2000 to 2010 years in a relationship, to find out that it was a hoax.
The two began negotiating a settlement. Yavonnie decided to stay in the home they bought together during the non-stop negotiation process until they could come to an agreement that would satisfy both of them.
It was a very long negotiation period, and people will think, why did she stay in that house if she was so scared or whatnot? But she really protected herself. She had cameras, video wire on her all times. She kept me updated, and I would come by, always unannounced, just to show up so he knew people were there. And she couldn't leave that house because she needed her settlement. If she left, there's no way he was going to negotiate or settle with her.
The settlement was finally agreed upon in November 2009, and after receiving an undisclosed amount of money, Yavonnie left the house. Yavonnie understandably needed space and time to heal and decided to start over in Southern California.
I always said, there's no way in hell I will ever live in Los Angeles. It's just not me. It's too Hollywood and too glamorous and too focused on looks, and that's just not the type of person I am.
Yavonnie had come a long way since their breakup. She had worked hard to get to where she was.
If I'm putting all of the resources into the patent and how the...
Yavonnie was currently working on getting a patent approved.
I got one of the logos I started working on.
Initially, I wasn't quite sure what to make of her new endeavor, but it seemed like nothing more than an excuse to keep herself occupied. But I later realized that the main reason she dove into these ventures was to get her identity back, after investing so much time and energy into her relationship with Charles. She was playing catch-up.
So right now I'm trying to find different ways of adding the fragrance to my patent. And I'm in this amazing scented beauty store, and so far I'm getting a lot of oils that are just going to be amazing because they're not everyday scents. These are very classy, decadent smelling. So this is a really good start. So this thing that I'm patenting is going to revolutionize air fresheners. I'm not patenting the scent, I'm actually just patenting the mechanism that's holding the scent. And what's really difficult is the cost. Just to start a production of 1,000 parts can cost like $15,000 to $18,000, and I told Tony there's no effing way. This one's my favorite. Just based on our last meeting, the cost for something that's going to be disposable is outrageous.
I've gotten quotes from 2-3 different places already, and just a lot of the manufacturing work I've done throughout my career, it's It's the same. It's just molds.
This is getting crazy out of hand. 1000%. This is absolutely effing crazy. I'm not kidding. You're looking at me and you're smiling, and you're making me laugh.
I'm just thinking because you know what? This is what people go through. They got an idea and they want to go for it, and then when they find out the cost to build, they just scrap it.
Despite having already spent a large amount of money on her patents, it seemed as though she had not thought everything through. She had put the ultimate pressure on herself, almost like it was a contest. If she gave up, then Charles would win. And if she lost, then she would never be able to recover. She needed to prove her worth to herself. She was determined to rise above those who had brought her down. There were specific words that Charles had told her that echoed hauntingly in her mind. "You have no follow-through." And those words were the rallying point for her career going forward.
It's just all follow through. From now on, I'm going to finish every freaking thing that I start. I know I'm capable of doing monumental things, and always gonna have in the back of my head Charles saying to me that I have no follow through. So it was really important for me, once I was able to get myself up on the rope, not to quit, to finish what I started.
Unfortunately, the world had a way of reminding her what she had lost. She was asked by her cousin Michelle to be the maid of honor in her wedding, and I'm sure the 8.5-year relationship she had with Charles echoed in her mind throughout.
Looks beautiful on you. Oh, that's sweet. Misha and Seth, take time to enjoy each other, spoil each other, laugh, love, and appreciate each other. Here's to many, many years together. Love you both, Thea, Annie, and Uncle Jerry. And it's like a pretty princess dress.
Because she's happy.
It's a good thing, though.
I never asked her if she thought about Charles during the ceremony. But one thing seemed abundantly clear. She was realizing how much of her life she lost.
But in my opinion, she really won't be happy unless she gets a little of that mothering instinct. I see her do it with her dogs. I'd love to see her do it with a child. You become more different. You become less than just focusing on yourself. You become so much more.
She began to move forward, attempting to make up for her lost time. Although she was now single, the chance of motherhood seemed more unlikely than ever. At her age, the thought of having lost any ability to conceive a child became more important than ever, since her fertility and childbearing capabilities were still unknown. It was a race against time.
But I'm 42. I guess I just want to know what all of my options are. And so one thing that I'm really concerned about is whether or not it's true that women, once they reach the age of 40, have the chance of having a baby with birth defects. Like the percentage is a lot higher now than it would have been if I had had the kid earlier in life.
Hi.
Hi.
It's me. I'm really nervous.
Hi, no worries. Andy Huang, pleasure to meet you.
Oh, good to meet you.
Yeah, we're happy to go over all that stuff with you.
You're dealing with a lot of old ladies.
You're not old, you're 39.
I'm 40. Oh, yeah, I'm 39.
39. Where did you come from?
I'm coming from Northern California,
Okay.
San Francisco, but
Okay.
prior to that, I'm a New Yorker.
Okay, all right, very nice. Tell me about you and, what brings you here?
I recently got out of a long-term relationship, like
Okay.
8.5 years.
Okay.
And during that relationship, it was okay with me that I probably wasn't going to have kids, mainly because my boyfriend had a vasectomy prior to us dating.
Okay.
So that was, I guess, the main factor. There was not going to be an accidental pregnancy or a plan. It would have had to have been planned. So the relationship has since ended, and now I'm starting to feel like, okay, it was okay for me not to think about having kids. That was a choice that I made for that relationship.
Okay.
But now I'm starting to feel like, was that the right decision? And what are my options at this point?
So age is a very good predictor of your percent chance for a baby. So if you came to me, you were 20, and you asked me, Andy, what's my chance of getting pregnant? I'd say it's very good. It's about 97% in your lifetime. Okay. If you came to me when you were 30, it's dropped a little bit, but still very good, about 95%. Okay. At 40, 70%, not bad. Okay. At 45, this is where the big drop off occurs. Okay. This is down to 13%.
13?
Okay? Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And this is just based on your age alone. Okay. So just based on your age and your birth date, this tells me kind of what your chance of getting pregnant is. So in a minute, we're going to do an ultrasound. I'm going to count all the follicles on your right side and your left side. Okay. That's ovarian age. And this is going to be very important for us today. Because this is going to tell me, yes, you are 42 years old, but are your ovaries potentially younger, all right? Because then that can open up doors for doing different things.
Like, I don't know why I'm getting emotional.
It's okay.
Is that something you could tell today? Like,
Today we're going to check your AFC. We're going to take a look at all the follicles you have, okay? And your FSH, we're going to check on your second or third day.
Okay.
All right.
sorry.
Okay, but your ovarian age is important. Now that's one thing that we're going to very critically evaluate. Okay.
Yavonnie's patent was materializing. Her invention was a toilet roll air freshener that would dispense fragrances automatically with every pull. The design had already been finalized, and it was now time for her to make a prototype.
I feel like I'm going through these roller coasters, and I need to get used to having so much responsibility. I've had it pretty easy considering what I'm about to put myself through, so I just have to get used to not getting stressed out and doing whatever I can to mold it into something that's easier to swallow. So that's my challenge. I need therapy and a drink.
Things were progressing with her patent, but more importantly, she was finally letting her friends back into her life. She had been cooped up in her own world for so long, it seemed like it was only fueling her insecurities. Since the Billboard and media storm ended, there were very few smiles or genuine emotions. But now, she was finally beginning to get her life back on track. She was coming out of her shell.
It's been a long time since we've all been together, and I really appreciate you traveling and leaving your rugrats and coming out to make sure that I'm okay, and just to see this beautiful area that I've moved to. I miss hanging out with you guys on a regular basis, but I just, this is so real, I'm not kidding. You guys mean a lot to me. I just really feel like I'm starting a new life, and I'm just really, it doesn't seem like it right now, but I'm really happy about starting this new chapter in my life. So I just want to thank my girlfriends for being here for me and being patient and not hating me and not being really upset that I didn't like reach out and return your calls and return your emails when you were sending them to check up on me. I just needed that space. And so let's just have a little drink of Mongolian motherfuckers.
It was now more than a year later, and the breakup was still affecting her, but in a much different way.
Just given the fact that I was sexually molested at such a young age, and then got out of this long-term relationship with somebody who had multiple unprotected sexual partners, I just want to make sure, like, that it's, like, not all tangled up down there. From all the abuse it sustained. It's okay, ovaries. I'll take care of you. I mean, seriously, this world needs a little mini me. But I just have to keep a positive attitude. I just hope I'm able to freeze my eggs for future use.
Here's your ovary on the left side, right here. See all these dark circles?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, very good. All right, you have a lot. Again, so even better than I saw you before. Beautiful. 15 follicles altogether.
Wow.
Okay, so wonderful. All right. I've kind of talked to you about kind of the numbers, right? In terms of how many eggs we need to get in order to give you an appropriate chance. Right. You know also that the data is on women under 38.
Right.
And you're kind of in an unknown territory. Okay. Mm-hmm. Can you get pregnant even though you're over 38 with these frozen eggs? Yes. But the reality is I don't know. I can't give you hard numbers that your chance of getting pregnant with these frozen eggs is, 15% or 10% or 5% even.
Right.
Okay.
It was so fast. Well, obviously it was good news. He said that I had more follicles today than I had on Thursday or Wednesday when we were here. So he said my ovaries were looking good.
No matter how hard she tried to keep pushing forward, something would always bring the disastrous breakup back to the forefront.
There's a car always sitting at the edge of the alley across the street from mine.
Come on, dogs.
Whoever's in the car notices me, the car takes off. So that started happening in January after the billboards.
At first, I thought she was paranoid. Yavonnie was convinced that if someone was outside waiting in their car, they must be following her. But why would someone do that? Why would anyone be out to get her? I was really confused. I thought she was just looking for attention, but it didn't add up. She had worked so desperately in trying to move on that ultimately it seemed like this was the last thing she would want to get involved in.
The next day I came out and the very same vehicle was sitting here in the same spot. And this went on for about 4 weeks, every single day. So at that point I started thinking, okay, Charles must have someone following me, or Karen must have someone following me.
So he's in the same location, this person, or?
Same location, different car.
But after a while it continued. The same guy kept coming back. He stayed all day for weeks on end. I then realized that she might actually be telling the truth. But why would someone be following her? Does she have information that someone would kill for? Was Charles behind this? I mean, she was a girlfriend of one of the most powerful men in the corporate world. How much did he confide in her? What was their relationship really like? Is there a greater reason for all of this? Something just seemed off.
This is something that's been happening since January. And call me paranoid, but I believe that I'm being watched.
Well, Yavonnie couldn't get past the mysterious men outside her home. It was now months later and they were still there.
So the reason that I decided that I needed protection, or just somebody that could be on my side, is that I've just been a nervous wreck. I don't sleep, I don't eat, and this is not a frivolous task. This is an undertaking that I feel is very necessary. I've been as hyper vigilant as I can by, walking up to people that I think are suspicious, and I just start taking pictures of them with my cell phone. But I look like a crazy person because everyone is starting to look suspicious to me.
Basically, we'll be doing counter surveillance, and like I said, any potential threat that comes on foot or by car or whatever, we're going to be there to intercept it. So you just need to start relaxing at this point, understand that you're being taken care of, and we'll start moving forward.
Relax? What the hell is that?
I was gonna come back over to your work. Yeah, no, he went to your garbage cans just to the right of the gated garage, and then he lifted it up. And when I called over to him, he just put the lid down on the trash can and kept walking down the other street leading towards the other side of the alleyway. And that's when this guy went to pick him up, and now they're back in their original spot again. So yeah, he says they're definitely, doing surveillance and dumpster diving, basically trying to get info on you. So
That white car?
yeah, it's been there. I don't know if it follows you over there, but it's been sitting there now with its lights on, like mimicking me almost,
I was gonna go look
for
at
about 40 minutes, almost 35 minutes.
I think that car is the car that
Once Yavonnie had the security team behind her, she confronted them and took their picture. Yavonnie's investigators confirmed that the numerous men following her were from a company called Kroll, a highly expensive private investigative firm specializing in surveillance, interrogation, and executive protection. Although there was no way to prove who hired them, Yavonnie was convinced it was Charles.
And there he goes.
Why he was having her followed still remained a mystery, but Yavonnie knew it had to stop.
I want to know why you were following me this year, why you had me followed, or why whoever you claim had me followed. I want to know.
I don't know the Huxley guy, and I've been trying to find out about him. The guy you mentioned, I have no connection to him, and so I have not been following you straight through from January, and that is the truth. And if your guys can find out something about him, I'd be more than willing to pay for that information or to fund their work on, finding out who he is, because I have not. No one I know knows anything about him. And again, if your guys can find out anything about him, if I can be of help, I will help. But he is not connected with me. I'm sorry, whatever appears that way, but I actually think he's probably innocent. But if he's not, then I just want to know too. So he has nothing to do with me.
I find out that this guy is parked at the top of my driveway. He is no innocent guy, okay? This guy has been following me. He followed me all that day that I called you, and I've got witnesses who saw him the day that I came out of my parking garage. The guy in the green truck has been out there since January. There's nothing you're gonna say that's going to convince me that you don't have a clue of who these people are.
I'm not. Calm down, please. Let's talk to me like this. Let's talk to each other like this. Let's just talk, okay? We don't have to do this.
You wouldn't be hearing from me right now had you not had me followed all year. You can sit there and deny it all you want.
We're not following.
You sit there and fucking lie, and then stop talking over me. I listened to what you told me 10 times. I recorded it like I record every one of our conversations.
I know that.
I listened to, and I know you know that I recorded. I know you know I record the conversations.
Well, hold on. But once you keep saying things, you start believing it. You weren't told the entire year. A lot of those vehicles that you came up with in that picture, that gun, and they had nothing to do. No one can find any of that stuff.
Okay.
And so there's a dichotomy here, and I want to say you want to go to arbitration, subpoena everybody, and find out.
I don't need for you to admit it. I don't need it. Fine. I know. Just like a lot of the shit that you lied about for 8.5 years wasn't true. Bye, Charles. I'm sick of you talking over me. Goodbye, loser.
It seemed as though there was a lot of energy expended to uncover the truth and keep an eye out for potential threats. The relationship had been over now for more than a year, and Yavonnie was no longer interested in protecting him. It was now time to protect herself.
So because the person who's watching me is like the president of Oracle Corporation, so he can hire, if not do himself, hack into my system and plant bugs and whatever. So now this makes this even more important because I would love to find out that there are listening devices in my house. And every time I would come in eye view of this person in the green van, he would leave. Okay. I know that I'm at least watched. Now we need to find out, has my email been infiltrated? Has my network been compromised? And what's, if we can find that out,
then I'll have a lawsuit against him, the company that he employed. If it's Oracle,
assuming you
look
can
out.
prove who did it.
Great,
That's the
are
hard
you kidding?
part.
But who else would do it?
I work for a very high-profile executive protection firm. I do electronic countermeasures, which means checking for bugs and wiretaps. Look for anything that might be standing out, any high-frequency signals, hidden cameras that they aren't aware of, that type of thing.
There was a guy in a big, dark SUV. He had an elaborate computer set up in his car. So it's not like I have a bunch of enemies. I just have one person who wants to make sure I keep my mouth shut.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm glad you were able to come today. That's how serious this is. Like, he would think of everything.
If these guys are a large-scale reputable firm, that is clearly an illegal act, and the individual that's sitting out there doing that would be looking at jail time. And I really don't think they do that. They have to break the communication protocols. Just because they're outside and pointing something in your house doesn't mean they're getting access to your network.
I know that if somebody's been sitting outside my house since January, I know they have to have gone into my computer, into my network. And now we're just never gonna know. And it just makes me so mad that I'm just not protected. Or if I'm protected now, I don't know whether or not I was protected for the past entire year. And that's just...
Who's been following me? Who's been following me? I want to hear it from your mouth.
I don't have a name. It's been open 4 hours overnight. I've been asleep. And just I don't have a person's name. I actually don't know what the person's name is.
I want to know who it was that hired this company to follow me all year.
I told you that already. I told you my law firm did that.
Your law firm just fucked you bigger than everything. You're a liar. You told me everything right now, and that's... What's the name of the fucking company? What's the name of the company?
Well, people I hired did this.
What's the name of the company, Chuck? You paid for it. What's the name of the company? You're not going to tell me? Is that what you're saying? You're not going to tell me?
I said security. I hired back there.
Whoever hired these people on your behalf fucked you up because you would have never heard from me.
What are you going to do to me?
Why don't you ask your lawyers? Why don't you ask your lawyers? Your lawyers have been following me.
Wait a second. I'm trying to figure out a way we can resolve this.
It was already resolved. I would never have called you had I not realized that you're the person that's been having me followed all year. So fuck you.
I want you to tell me.
Sue me. I'm not here. Goodbye, Charles. Goodbye. Goodbye.
There's a saying, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And I guess
the head of one of the largest tech firms is starring in a new billboard in Times Square. The problem is the woman he's posing with is not his wife. The huge sign was apparently put up by the longtime girlfriend of Charles Phillips, the president of...
The decision to actually put the billboards up came after the Tiger Woods scandal happened. It really made me angry all over again, hearing how many women were coming forward in that scandal, claiming to be the only woman in his life. Having the billboards go up was my way of saying, in the only way I knew how, which was to be the first woman to come out and claim that I was in a relationship or a committed long-term relationship with Charles.
While Yavonnie's breakup with Charles provided her with the means to set the story straight, the media attention gave her much more than she had bargained for.
After the billboards turned into a media scandal, Charles contacted me because he needed to release a statement.
If word for word I do not approve of that statement, I will make a statement of my own. And this is not any type of blackmail. I am going to save my reputation, which you have fucked. Publicly stating that my relationship with you was a serious relationship and that I was not a mistress is vital to me moving on and what the proceeds of my house tax-free is going to be.
They entered into yet another contract.
The two of us agreed on word for word exactly what was to go into that press release.
Despite the two drafting the statement together, Charles released a statement different than what they agreed upon.
He took the sentence out, which read, "Contrary to recent reports, Yavonnie was not a mistress." And he added a sentence in there that he and I never discussed. And that sentence was, "My divorce proceedings began in 2008. As far as I was concerned, or as far as I was led to believe, he filed for divorce 6 months prior to us dating in 2001. And in 2004, part 1 of his divorce was final, and part 1 was that the marriage was dissolved. It took another 3 years before part 2 was finished, and part 2 entailed the financial agreement, the child custody agreement, and the child support. So him releasing that press release made it seem like from 2001 through 2008, I was in a relationship with a married man, when in fact, I knew that he was divorced. I would never have been in that relationship that long if I knew that he was still carrying on a relationship with his wife and having relationships with these other women.
Yavonnie felt disparaged. In exchange for the billboards and website being taken down, Charles agreed to pay Yavonnie the remaining 45% of the value of the house.
Up till this point, he has not complied with the contract. It's December 2010, 6 months past the date that he promised and agreed to putting the funds in my account. So I am going through all of my audio tapes to give to my attorney to determine whether or not I have a case against him. So I did not pursue him until I found out he was having me followed all year. My attorneys and the investigative firm that I hired came back and told me that the car that's been sitting outside my home since January of 2010 is a hired investigator from a company that Charles hired. Game on.
Yavonnie had decided to explore her legal options. For now, the mysterious men following her had seemed to disappear. Whether or not they would continue to stay away remains to be seen. But for Yavonnie, things were looking hopeful.
Please answer. Uncle Tony? Okay, so I'm a little bit nervous. I'm crying a little bit, but I just opened up an email from the patent attorney, and it's official. We're inventors. We have a serial number and a patent pending number, and we did it. We can mass produce we can do it now.
Wow.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. This is so exciting.
Oh my God.
If anyone goes to a patent office and looks up our names, we're gonna be inventors. We're on file as being inventors. Oh, it's so hot.
It was the first successful business venture of her life. But I think it was more than just that. It exhibited her ability to overcome the obstacles in her life that always had kept her down. It represented the follow-through that Charles always told her she lacked. It symbolized the possibilities to come.
I already feel like meal. Should I make a fist or something? Yes.
Yavonnie was going to continue with her fertility trials. Unfortunately, This is something that she had no control over the results. If it was too late, there would be nothing she could do.
And now I'm supposed to be getting the shots. So I'm supposed to stop taking these, which will then trick my body into thinking that I need to have a menstrual cycle. And then after that, I start giving myself injections.
So your ovaries are great. Nice and synchronous, okay? So the birth control pills did its job, all right? You're gonna be on a regimen where you're gonna be on shots in the morning and in the evening.
Okay.
Okay? And again, it's just under the skin, right around the belly.
Okay.
Basically, it's an alcohol wipe to clean the skin, and then you're just gonna pinch a little bit, and then the needle just goes in, and that's it. You inject it, and that's it. You do it twice in the morning and twice in the evening. Okay? You're gonna be fine.
Okay. Okay. This is nothing compared to what some people have to go through. I would much rather be doing this than have to live through Hurricane Katrina. So just suck it up. Just suck it up. 1, 2. Oh, wait. Okay, people do this every day. Just do it. 1, 2, go. Can't go. What am I gonna do? How am I supposed to do this? Okay, stab. I did it. It's over. That was it. All that freaking hesitation, I didn't even feel it. I don't know why it took me that long. Okay, I'm really on the road now. Now I feel like I can do this. I'm very committed to taking all of this, and I'm very, very needle phobic. And I know that for me to be going through all of this, I'm admitting to myself that that it really wasn't okay with me to give up that womanly instinct to be a mother. And now that I'm by myself, I'm like realizing that it's not okay, because I always assumed that I would have kids. And so just knowing that I still have the possibility, it just, like, I actually dream about it now. And I would love to teach a little kid, and I would love to, like, just have a little person that's a part of me. And I just want to, like, take care of a baby or a child and protect it and make up for what happened to me. I just want to, I guess I just want to just make up for the mistakes that happened in my life when I was a little kid. And I kind of feel like it's not necessarily my responsibility, but something that I need to do to, I guess, make what happened to me okay. Me having a kid and me teaching a kid and providing for a child in a way that I didn't have will make what I had to go through okay somehow. And like, I wake up at night and there's this little girl. I don't see her face. I just see her hair and like her little hands and her little dresses and her little bows in her hair, and I just see her running and skipping and just like full of life and full of happiness. And so when I'm going through this, I'm saying 1, 2, 3, follow through, 1, 2, 3, follow through, but really it's like I just see this little person that I hope will one day come into my life. And I still can't even imagine what that joy is
will be like. Everyone always says you just have no idea what life is until you have kids. I still, like, I can't fathom what it would be like, because I still feel like it would be a burden to have the responsibility of, like, protecting and raising a child. But, you know, this is nothing compared to, like, the joy that I'm gonna get someday from a little rugrat.
Yavonnie had come a long way since their breakup. She was now the CEO of 4 separate companies, and her patent was officially in production. She had worked hard to get to where she was, but unfortunately, some things she would still have to leave up to chance.
After all the weeks of birth control pills and ovulation kits and fertility shots, Dr. Huang is finally going to put me under anesthesia and suck out my eggs, throw them in the freezer, so that when I'm ready to get pregnant, I'm going to be using 42-year-old eggs as opposed to, who knows, 60-year-old eggs. So, here we go. That's it. I'm ready to get my rugrats out. Yes, sorry. That's okay. I'm going to get my eggs out.
Come on in. The lucky number is 13.
Yay!
Very nice. Very nice.
We got more than a dozen.
Exactly. All right, my dear. How about sitting up?
Okay.
Hang on just a sec. I'm going to move to the bed so that you're facing me.
Okay.
Don't stand up. Just take your time.
I don't know how women do this month after month after month until they get pregnant.
It's a lot to go through, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know. I'm going to go right over to the bathroom where you
So they said that when they tried to get all the eggs on the other side, the small ones, like my heart rate started racing, and so like I guess I just didn't like them Dr. Huang probing. Maybe he had to dig too hard for the little eggs. But I'm mad because I wanted him to get as many eggs as possible. But what I wonder is maybe if my subconscious knew that he was like digging around in there, and maybe like I had some sort of subconscious flashback of being molested as a kid or something. Like I wonder if that had something to do with it. They said that when you tried to go into the other side, like to get the little eggs, my heart went off the charts, and I'm really mad because I wanted you to be able to get like more eggs. Okay.
13 is off the chart. It's awesome.
So as soon as I got on the phone, I just started crying, and he just said,
There's no reason to be upset. We got 13 eggs. We got more eggs than we could have expected because I was hoping for 9. But guess what? We got 13. You did really, really well. You should be really happy.
Thank you so much. Okay, I feel better.
Someone my age, there's just not a lot of data out there on what the outcome could possibly be after all of this. And, he even said to me, when I get somebody in here in their 40s, they're trying to get pregnant. So the fact that we're doing this so that you could freeze your eggs, this is new territory. I can't even express how happy I am and how lucky I feel. Where I am today is not where I would have been had I not been in the relationship with Charles. What I have been through has made me a better person. I wouldn't be going through this fertility preservation. My life would be so different. So I really don't have anything to be angry about. He's not worth me being angry over, but I'm worth me being happy. I am putting myself first, really, truly putting myself first in a way that's gonna make me happy. So that wasn't the case before, and it always made me feel like I wasn't fulfilling the reason I was put on this earth, the reason I was born. My mom was only 16 when she had me. She could have had an abortion, but she didn't. So with that luck, what am I gonna do with this life? I just feel like there are no excuses anymore. I can't use Charles as an excuse. Right now, the drive that I have never had in my life, it's just unstoppable. I just feel that I love the place that I'm in right now. The world is literally in my hands. I can do whatever I want. I can have whatever I want. What an awesome position to be in. So I just feel very lucky to be me right now. Just very, very, very fortunate.